I'm not going to try to keep you long. But I do want to answer your questions, and I'll stay and do that as long as you want. My name is Tanya Bowers, and I'm the senior guidance counselor this year. And Mr. Barrett, am I standing in the right place?
You're good.
I had thought about that. Well, anyway, he is the junior counselor this year. I don't, Beth and Tracy, are they here?
Beth was coming.
I think she's got a student, she's got to transfer to this band, dance or something like that. Today, we're going to try to communicate the expectations for AP and dual credit classes. And we're going to just kind of tell you kind of what they're about. And then I want to talk to you about the cost of dual credit, just so I can see who my audience is. How many of your students are going to be juniors and seniors next year? Okay, so then the rest of you, raise your hands. You're the probably the 8th and 9th graders. You all are going to be at East, okay? They're probably at East Campus. They take the AP classes, and then when they come over here to West, then they can take the dual credit classes. With one exception, while I'm at it, Western will let them take dual credit at East. Is that somebody's phone? I've lost my phone and it's not my husband. It would have a purple case on if anybody has seen it. Western will let them take it, but we only put 7 credits on their transcript each year. So we won't put it on their high school transcript, but it'll be on their college transcript. And as a matter of fact, this summer, if you want to go to the Western website, they can search for dual credit, and they could take dual credit this summer. There's 2 different sessions. It's only $156 for a 3-hour class, so they can be working on, getting their college finished. Okay, we're talking kind of about AP and dual credit. AP classes, they're governed by the College Board, and so they tell us what the content needs to be. It's got guidelines, tells us about the AP testing and all that. Dual credit means that the kid is going to get credit at the high school and at the college, so it's dual. We have 3 colleges that we use: Madisonville, Western, and Murray. We have dual credit classes that are taught by our faculty, and then kids can take them online. And we've got them from Madisonville, Murray, Western. Okay, if they're taught online, then we don't have anything to do with it. That's totally the professor, his rules, and all that. Okay, online courses. There is a handout over here. Somebody asked me a while ago. I saw your show. This one. It's got all 3 of the colleges on there. It was the first one that you came to over the big stack. The first handout is Madisonville. They're coming tomorrow. But if your student's not ready, they don't know what they're going to take, they will still have time to do it. The reason that they might want to is if they want public speaking, it will fill up pretty soon. So if they do want public speaking, then they should, try to register tomorrow. The lady's going to come to East or to West during CCR, and then when she finishes here, she'll go to East. I think East is having some UK basketball players speaking to them tomorrow during their CCR. So, please remind your student that they are only registering for the fall semester tomorrow. If you signed up to take 2 classes, I would hope that you would take one in the fall and one in the spring. So don't sign up for both of them. If you do, they're going to expect you to be taking both classes come August. Also on the very back page, Murray tells you how the kid can sign up for Murray classes. Western, their classes are not available until May the 1st, and then you can get online and go and look at the classes that they've got. The classes that are in that handout are what they've got available for this summer. Okay, for each one of those colleges, the student is going to apply to the college, and then they're going to register for the class. 2 different things. There is no admission fee. They don't have to pay, $40 to apply to Western or anything. In their schedule, we're going to give them a little block or a skinny period all year it's just a computer time. They're going to be in a computer lab where they can be using our computers and, do that coursework. If they're a junior or senior at West Campus, we try to put those at the end of the day so the student can go home. But we hope that you all will make sure that they're checking their email, doing their assignments, because if they're not here, a lot of them want to get a job, and so then they can go to work early, but they still have that class that they've got to do. Okay, and all that's, they do get to leave, but it takes us 4 or 5 days for us to get all the paperwork done. So they have to watch a video, we have to get them enrolled in the class. So your students are going to be mad, they're going to want to leave that very first day, but we're not going to let them leave until we get them in all those classes, and it took me forever this time. I want to say it was about a week before I was ready. And once they start leaving, then I can't ever find them. So that's why, they've got to stay there, because I know where they are if they stay. Okay, all online classes are on the university schedule. So during spring break, fall break, all those things, they, got to work on classes. They will have a spring break different from ours. So they just need to know that that's the schedule. Students are required to communicate with the professor, and they do come to me because most of the time they don't know what to do. So I will email, I've got a contact person with all 3 of the schools, and I will try to help them, but my goal is to teach your student, email your professor, this is what you need to say, because next year they're going to have to do it on their own, and so it would be good if you would help them do that too. Teach them to be advocates for themselves. And you can't really call the teacher and say, well, I don't think you graded that right, or whatever, because the colleges will not even talk to you about your students' classes unless at Madisonville they've got that FERPA form. I don't know if you got those handouts where they're registering for the classes. There's a FERPA form. It's kind of like the HIPAA thing that we do at the doctor's office. It gives them permission to talk to you. So I tell the students to be sure to put your mom on there so she can call and pay your bill. Otherwise, you have to do that. If you all want to, you can just come on in and then just sign before you leave. I'll tell you all about all the forms because everybody doesn't need every form. Okay, this is important. If your student is in an online class, that's between them and the college. If they drop that class, they do have to come to guidance. We fill out a form for Madisonville. I send an email for Western, and I think I scan a form and send it to Murray. All 3 are different. But if they decide to drop it, they've got to have 7 credits on their transcript. So if it's after the first month, that grade is going to be on their transcript. So if they want to drop it while they've still got a low C or a high D, that would be a lot better than waiting until they're completely failing it. Once again, they can only have 7 credits on their transcript, but they can take 8 or 9 classes if they wanted to. So if they do, we're only going to put 7 credits on the transcript. And more than likely, in the fall, whatever they took then, they'll send me the grades, and then I put those on the transcript. If that was a C, and then all of a sudden they make a B in the spring semester or an A, they can come to guidance and say, Ms. Bowers, make sure that you put that one on my transcript so that I can go back and change that. Okay, students should check the general education credits at his or her college before picking all these classes. About 2 years ago, I had a student who took sociology, psychology, and some history class. And all 3 of those classes were in like the behavioral sciences at Western or wherever he was going to go. And he only needed 3 hours, but he had 9. So that's a waste of money and time. So there's no way that I can know what the general education requirements are for Western and Murray and Eastern and UK and all that. They're all different. They call them different things. So first of all, I suggest they don't take psychology and sociology because usually they both go in the same category. But the student can, they can ask like when the lady comes tomorrow. They usually know, and I'll help them. But I can't do them all. It's just they need to get on the website and kind of look at stuff like that. If they're going to take, say, 4 or 5 of them. Okay, these are classes that are taught at Western. If you all don't have to sign in right now, if you just want to come around, or I really want you to sign in, and then we can, if you don't get the handout that you need, if you'll email me, then I will email it to you, because I have them all digitally. And I didn't get a couple of them, so I will still email those to you. Okay, Western, on our campus, Ms. Anderson teaches English 100, Mr. Everly teaches college algebra, and Ms. Vargas teaches advanced chemistry and biochemistry. All those are through Western. We provide the text for those. Okay, at Murray, we have principles of teaching, advanced animal science, contemporary issues, and ag leadership. Mr. Cronin teaches the ag classes, and Natalie Smith teaches the principles of teaching class. Okay, MCC, we've got a lot of MCC, all of our text classes. Dual credit U.S. history. Now, he said that the students did buy the textbook for him. He told me that today. We have digital, electronics, engineering, and civil engineering. Those are all part of our engineering pathway. Most of them are 4 credit hours. We've got medicated nurse aid, medical terminology, emergency procedures, principles of health science. All of those are our nursing classes, so the student gets hours for all those. And for industrial maintenance, just so I wouldn't have to have another slide, if they take industrial maintenance 2 years in a row, they get 17 hours total credit from Madisonville. It's just packed with different classes. Okay, I don't know if anybody is in the industrial pathway, but if a student goes through those 2 years, they also get the CCER certification if they pass all 4 classes, and they've got some exams that they pass. And then electricity, it is not dual credit at this time. It was, and I think Madisonville, they're trying to get it back, but we don't have it right now. But also they can get those certifications through our electricity program. Automotive is the same way. It also, I didn't put that little disclaimer up there, but it's not dual credit at this time either. But if a student is going to go to Owensboro, they can test out of some of those. The guy over there, I recommend Owensboro over that. There's probably kids in here want to go, but Lincoln Tech out of Nashville. The guy at Owensboro is great. I mean, he's got a wonderful program, and it's like $4,000 instead of about $36,000. Okay, the health science technology, they can get the Medicaid nurse aid certificate after they do the MNA class and they pass the nursing assistant test, which is this Monday for our students. But if a student misses more than 4 days, then they can't sit for that exam. Do you have any one chair? I never
Give that 40 feet out the hall.
Do what? Are you serious? Yeah. Why don't you all come in and move around with everybody? And then I can just email everybody to email. Wow. Sorry. I don't think I've said anything that's been too bad for you to miss yet. I will also email this PowerPoint to all of the parents. I can do like parent contact 1 and 2 so that everybody can get it. And that way, won't have, if you can't see it, it won't be that bad. This is a really terrible slide after I saw it this morning. It's the truth. But kids have to have certain ACT scores in order to take dual credit classes. If your junior has, or your incoming junior has not taken the ACT, they probably need to take it so that they can take it as a junior next year, so that they can take the dual credit as a junior. U.S. history, they have to have a reading score of 20. English 100, they have 18. If your student has an 18 in English, a 20 in reading, and a 22 in math, they should be able to take whatever. Murray, they have to have an 18 composite and a 3.0 GPA. But if your student doesn't have one of those, the Western classes, they don't have a score that they have to have, except for English and math. So if they wanted to take psychology and they didn't have the score, they could take that from Western. So we can figure out, one of the, it's really low, they probably don't even take it, they need to make a way. Okay, this is important. Y'all want to just come in and you don't have to sign. Okay, first of all, when your student is applying to these online classes, there's no application fee. So if they get to the site and it says $40 application fee at Western or on the Murray site, then they're probably, or they are at the wrong place. All of the colleges, all three of them charge $52 per credit hour. So that's $156 for most classes. This sentence is a lie. It says students will be purged from the class if the tuition is not paid by the due date set by the universities. And I was using somebody else's PowerPoint. I knew it was a lie, but I still want it to be on there because they need to know. Our Western students right now are getting letter after letter after letter saying, you're not going to be, and they won't let them register for classes next year unless they get an email from me. But for dual credit, they give them a little leeway. But one parent in the meeting this morning said that her student got a letter that said bills were due, or you will be purged from your classes in 5 days. And one of her friends lost all their classes. So at that point, you've got to go back and register again, and then some of those classes will probably be full because you registered a long time ago. So, they need to figure out how to pay for classes, and they need to do it on time. But I know that it's a lie. They're going to give you more leeway as a dual credit student, but I still left it on there so that I could tell you that. We do go by the calendar on the website, and all of our colleges, the money is due October 1 in the fall and then March 1 in the spring. Most online classes, they require a textbook. Some of them will charge you, you're going to get charged at $68 for this class, whether you go out and buy another book or not. I had a student who bought one, and they charged her. She goes, but I didn't use it. I went and bought one because I wanted a real textbook. I didn't want that digital thing. And I called and tried to get it changed, and they said, sorry, everybody gets charged that. But most of the time, you can purchase your textbooks from Amazon or some of those other places. Okay, this has been about the death of me. The governor's scholarship. It just sounds so wonderful. The lady at Western told me to get down on my knees every night and pray that it goes away, that it's not here next year. Because it has been a full-time job. And those of you that had dual credit this year, I apologize that I haven't said anything before, but every single college is different. They all do it differently, and I didn't know how to send out an email. Or, it's like I don't know what to say because it's just going to mess everybody up. So if they do next year what they did this year, they could change it any time because they told us about this in July. So we had to scramble and figure out, what we were going to do. But the governor is going to pay for 2 classes for every senior. So students, they have to watch this career counseling video. That's one of those things, I told you it takes us about 5 days. We have to make sure that they've seen that career video. They have to sign a little paper, an initial beside everything. That we have to put that in their Q folder. We have to put them in WKU psychology, 100 or whatever, or Madisonville psychology 110. So we have to do all that. We try to mark those classes. I have to do a spreadsheet and I put a Y or an N whether this is going to be a governor's scholarship course or not. And those classes that I told you were 4 hours, I mark those so that the governor's paying for a 4 hour, and then maybe you gonna be paid, if you're a senior, 2 are gonna be paid by the governor, and then you would have to pay for 1. Also, there's that little 2-hour course, you know, the emergency procedures, I never marked that, you know, because that way you would have to pay for that one, unless you only have 2, and then I mark it that way. Madisonville last year paid for 1 course for juniors. They just did that out of the goodness of their heart. Western does not do that, and Murray, as of right now. And the last I heard, Madisonville was going to do that again. So, and they may, I heard somewhere where they may do 2 for juniors, but, you know, I don't know anything. The last I heard, they were going to do 1 for juniors. So all of that information could change at any time. That's basically all we know.
I'm Ms. Fleming, you don't know, I'm another counselor, and I said this morning, the one thing that always stays the same with dual credit is that it changes every semester, and I'm not kidding. But in all honesty, and looking at all of the big picture on this, things are improving. There are more options for your students at a consistent rate, because in the past, maybe one university was charging $300 or $200, and another one was saying you take it for free, or another one's $50. What the governor has done is he's unified a lot of things in terms of dual credit offerings for students in high school.
Okay, so AP, students are able to take AP based on their ACT scores, teacher recommendations, their grades, the GPA. They kind of look to see, you know, does this kid come to school all the time? And then there's a contract over there that I don't want you to sign that contract and give it back to me. It was just an example. It tells you kind of what they expect you as a parent to do, the student and the teacher. So it's kind of like an agreement between all 3 of you. It is governed by the College Board, and I got that agreement off of their website.
How many of you are just here for the AP portion only? Your student's going to be a freshman or sophomore? Okay, I thought it was several by the faces I was seeing. So I just want you to know that it's very great that you're here tonight, as you're hearing this dual credit information about your child's opportunities later. Don't be overwhelmed by that. But in terms of AP, that's another just excellent opportunity for your student. I can't say enough good things about AP. Sometimes it gets a bad rap because the rigor is there. But keep in mind it's a weighted score. And we have this, our kids are really hung up on GPAs, and I get it. They want the A's, they don't want a B. But keep in mind it is a weighted B, which is an A if they do get that. So sometimes in terms of scholarship applications, the weighted B looks better than in the AP than the A in the regular course. Our kids don't believe that. They don't believe us. And they want, it seems by junior or by sophomore year, they're trying to lower the bar. I just want to really encourage you not to let your student lower the bar and get out of that. Once classes start, Ms. Phillips doesn't let us change kids out of AP. So once you get the schedule in June, if you realize, oh man, they're going to be on the basketball team and this probably is not going to fit like I thought it would, then probably maybe AP's not for them, and we would be able to change that before school started. Sometimes we'll have a kid who legitimately doesn't have time for AP because they're involved in 3 extracurricular activities, and we get that. But for the student who's just looking for the rigor and looking to build the transcript and looking to get into GSP and looking to improve their ACT score and work towards scholarships, AP is the way to go. Another advantage of AP is if they take that test and score that 3 or above, they get college credit. And some of those courses can be worth, if a student were to score a 5, could be worth even, for instance, it depends on the university they go to, but it could be even 12 credit hours for a 5 in AP psychology at a certain university. So just acknowledge that it's more than just the 3 credit hours if they really excel and get 5s on those. And we do have kids who pass AP exams. Kids will say, I'm not going to take it, it's too hard. I don't know anything, I'll never pass it. And they get discouraged. I'm not sure how it happens or where it comes from, but I hear it. And I just want to encourage you to encourage your child to step out there, out of their comfort zone with AP courses. If they're an honor student, take that 1 freshman year, if that's fine, or even 1 sophomore year. They don't necessarily need to take 2 if they're involved in extracurricular activities, because it could be overwhelming to have, more than one. So make sure they're ready for the time investment that's required for AP courses. And Ms. Bowers is over the AP as well, the AP testing. So with that AP testing, students on free and reduced lunch take those exams for free. So if you think you might qualify for reduced lunch, even if you think it's not free, fill out that lunch form at the beginning of the year, get that in so you can see, because if your kid's taking a couple classes, they can take those exams for free. Again, things are inconsistent. Some years that's not true. This year it is true. But they do, if they're on free and reduced lunch, get a key scholarship bonus for passing AP exams. That's another way that the money can turn around. Maybe they get a lot less keys money because they made a B, $20 less. Well, it's not a huge amount, or $30, but maybe they got a 3 on the AP test and they got whatever the amount is, if it's $200 or whatever, so they get their money back someplace with AP. You have to weigh it. And I wanted to make sure we said, enough for you guys who are just AP. I'm interested tonight in learning more about AP. So we have all summer to get that stuff situated too. But then once the day school starts, really the 1st of August, we're not allowed to change schedules. Okay.
All right, I had a slide on the, the credit that they get if they take the exam, and it doesn't look so good, but in English language, if a student scores at MCC, if they had scored a 3, 4, or 5, they get credit for English 101. They get English 100 at WKU, which is equivalent to English 100 at MCC. If they get, see other websites, like if you're going to go to UK or something like that, look for AP credit, like Google that to see what they would have. English literature, we usually have our seniors take that one. MCC, a 3, 4, or 5 is going to be a humanities credit. But at WKU, if they earn a 3, then they get English 100. But if they get a 4, then they get English 100 and English 200 for that English lit class. And I think I've got the College Board, the collegeboard.org. You can look up all the colleges there, and it will tell you, all in one place, what they get at different places. Now, Josh Stewart told me that, but I could not find it today, but I will find it eventually. I just took over the AP, so I'm not anywhere near where I need to be on that. Okay. Students take the AP exam in May, and this year it was $93, so I just went ahead and put 95 because last year it was 91. Usually that money is due in February, and like we said, if your student's on free or reduced lunch, then that's free. Even if they take 4 exams, all 4 of them would be free, and it was free this year, but I understand it was just reduced last year, so, who knows. Okay, AP courses, some of them do require summer work. If your child is taking AP World History, the assignment, I'm pretty sure, is over there on that sheet. So you can get the AP World syllabus and the AP World assignment for this summer. The classes didn't start in August, but you're supposed to mail it in or something. So you could get that, and I'm sure it has his email address on it, so you could ask him about that. Okay, each AP course is taught. We're expecting the kids to take the exam. They don't have to. Both AP and school credit are weighted. They're more rigorous than other classes. And like she said, if you take the exam and you score at least a 3, you get college credit somewhere. My daughter took environmental science and biology one, I can't remember, but she scored a 3. And her first semester she went to Vanderbilt. And they did not accept it, but she transferred at Christmas and went to Western, and they did accept it. So it does matter, like, which college you're going to. And the person who made the slide before me, she said that your child might earn their first B, and that's okay. That's hard. When I know the caliber of your students, they're used to getting A's. And if they get a B, it is weighted, and that, we use the weighted GPA for rank. It's for valedictorian. The unweighted GPA, where it will be counted as a B, that's the one that colleges use to award like your merit scholarships and stuff. So, if your student is going to take a whole bunch of weighted classes and make a bunch of B's in them, it's going to hurt their rank. They're not going to be valedictorian. They will rate above other students who don't take it. That they will move up there. But, it might hurt their merit scholarships. Because they need a 3.8 at WKU in order to get like their highest honors, which is like a $12,000 scholarship, or maybe it's $16,000. So, and I give them their unweighted GPA for that. Okay, as far as all of these handouts over here, that every teacher did not send it to me for me to print. I don't have the college algebra. Somebody remember there's another one I don't have. But I do have the English 100, or I did have it. They probably be gone now. If you want to pick up your syllabus, and there is one that says how to pay. I wish anybody that's taking online or dual credit, I wish you would get that. This one tells you how to pay. If you have got a student that's taking dual credit right now, I guess that would be our juniors, then those bills are due. And I've got some that I need to give to the students, but this tells you how to pay if you're going to Western, if your classes are at Nashville or Murray. So it is a good little handout for you to have. So this is my email address. If you want to, it's going to take me 2 weeks to answer them because I probably got 200 today, probably. I will try next week to answer the emails and send everybody what they ask for. Western will let you. She asked if, they've got 7 courses at school, and they want to take, say, college algebra. If you want to take a Western, that's going to charge you $166. Madisonville won't let you do that unless you're getting high school credit as well. So they're going to charge you $400, whatever they charge everybody else. And does anybody else have any questions? She said something about the free and reduced lunch form. Because I've got so many parents, please fill that out at the beginning of the year. If you think that you're anywhere close, students who run free or reduced lunch don't have to pay, seniors especially, they don't have